The betrayal. The gleaming spires of New Geneva stretched towards the crimson sky, a testament to humanity's resilience and ingenuity. It had been 50 years since the first alien probe entered Earth's atmosphere, bringing with it the shocking revelation that we were not alone in the universe. The probe heralded the arrival of the Galactic Confederation, a vast alliance of alien species that spanned the Milky Way. Ambassador Elena Chen stood before the mirror, adjusting her formal attire. Today was the day humanity would finally take its place among the stars. After years of negotiations and preparations, Earth was on the brink of joining the Confederation as a full member. Chen had been chosen to represent humanity in this historic moment, and the weight of responsibility pressed heavily upon her shoulders. "Are you ready, Madam Ambassador?" her aide, Michael, asked from the doorway. Chen nodded, her expression resolute. "As ready as I'll ever be. Let's make history." The journey to the Confederation's diplomatic station in orbit was uneventful. Chen's shuttle docked smoothly, and she was escorted to the Grand Assembly Hall. Alien dignitaries from 100 worlds filled the chamber, their forms as diverse as the stars themselves. Some floated on anti-gravity platforms, others slithered on multiple appendages, while a few seemed to shimmer in and out of existence. At the center of it all stood High Counselor Zaxxlian, the leader of the Confederation. His iridescent scales gleamed under the artificial lights as he approached Chen with open arms. "Ambassador Chen." Zaxxlian's voice was a melodious trill. "Welcome to the heart of the Confederation. Today we make history together." Chen bowed slightly, a gesture of respect. "High Counselor, on behalf of Earth and all of humanity, I thank you for this opportunity. We look forward to a future of cooperation and mutual growth." The ceremony began with great pomp and circumstance. Speeches were made, treaties were signed, and it seemed as though a new era of peace and prosperity was dawning for humanity. Chen felt a swell of pride as she affixed her signature to the final document, officially inducting Earth into the Galactic Confederation. But as she turned to address the assembled dignitaries, a commotion erupted near the back of the hall. Shouts of alarm rang out, followed by the distinctive whine of energy weapons. "Protect the ambassador," Michael yelled, rushing to Chen's side. Chaos engulfed the chamber as security forces from various species clashed with the attackers. Chen caught glimpses of shadowy figures moving with inhuman speed, their features obscured by advanced stealth technology. High Counselor Zaxxlian's guards formed a protective circle around him, whisking the Confederation leader to safety. But as Chen's own security detail tried to move her towards the exit, a piercing beam of energy cut through the air. Time seemed to slow as Chen watched the beam approach. She saw Michael's eyes widen in horror, his hand reaching out in a futile attempt to push her aside. But it was too late. The energy beam struck Chen squarely in the chest, burning through her ceremonial robes and into her heart. She gasped, more in surprise than pain, as her legs gave way beneath her. The last thing she saw before darkness claimed her was Michael's anguished face and the cold, alien architecture of the chamber where humanity's dreams had turned to ash. Back on Earth, the news of Ambassador Chen's assassination spread like wildfire. Riots erupted in major cities as fear and anger gripped the population. The Confederation's official statement, claiming that the attack was the work of a fringe terrorist group, did little to quell the growing suspicion that this had been a deliberate act of betrayal. In the depths of the Pentagon, General Marcus Blackwood slammed his fist on the table, causing the holographic display to flicker. This was no random attack, he growled to the assembled Joint Chiefs. The Confederation planned this from the start. They never intended to welcome us as equals. Admiral Sarah Hawthorne, her face lined with worry, spoke up. "If that's true, we're grossly outmatched. The Confederation's technology is centuries ahead of ours. We don't stand a chance in open conflict." A tense silence fell over the room, broken only by the soft hum of electronics. Then, from the shadows at the back of the room, a voice spoke, perhaps not with our current forces. "Admiral, but what if I told you we had an ace up our sleeve?" All eyes turned to the speaker, an elderly man in a nondescript suit. Few in the room recognized him, but those who did straightened in their seats. General Blackwood's eyes narrowed. "Dr. Emerson, I thought you retired years ago." The old man stepped forward, an enigmatic smile playing on his lips. "Officially, yes. Unofficially, I've been overseeing a project that might just save humanity from extinction." He placed a small device on the table, and a new hologram sprang to life. It showed a vast underground cavern, filled with sleek, otherworldly vessels. "Ladies and gentlemen," Dr. Emerson announced, his voice filled with a mix of pride and trepidation, "allow me to introduce you to Project Lazarus, Earth's secret fleet, built with technology recovered from an ancient civilization that once called our planet home." The room erupted in a flurry of questions and exclamations. Admiral Hawthorne leaned in, her eyes wide with disbelief. "How long have we had this? Why weren't we informed?" Dr. Emerson's expression turned grave. "This fleet has been our insurance policy, hidden away for generations. We always hoped we'd never need to use it. But now, faced with the treachery of the Confederation, I fear we have no choice." General Blackwood studied the hologram intently. "How quickly can these ships be made combat-ready?" "They already are," Dr. Emerson replied. "We've been maintaining and upgrading them in secret for decades. With your authorization, we can have them launched within 24 hours." The Joint Chiefs exchanged glances, the weight of the decision before them palpable in the air. Finally, General Blackwood nodded. "Do it. Activate the fleet. It's time to show the Confederation that humanity won't go quietly into the night." As the meeting adjourned and plans were set in motion, none of those present could have imagined the firestorm they were about to unleash upon the galaxy. The age of humanity's subservience was over. The era of Earth's vengeance was about to begin. The awakening. Deep beneath the surface of the Earth, in cavernous chambers hidden from prying eyes and prodding sensors, a miracle of ancient technology stirred to life. Project Lazarus, humanity's best-kept secret and last line of defense, was awakening from its long slumber. Dr. Vivian Emerson, daughter of the project's founder, stood in the control center, her heart racing as she input the final activation codes. Around her, a team of Earth's brightest engineers and scientists worked feverishly, bringing systems online that had lain dormant for decades. "Power levels are stable," reported Dr. Kai Tanaka, his fingers flying over a holographic interface. "Antimatter containment fields are holding steady." Vivian nodded, her eyes fixed on the main display. It showed a vast underground hangar, easily the size of a small city, filled with sleek, otherworldly vessels. Each ship was a masterpiece of engineering, combining the recovered technology of Earth's ancient precursors with the best innovations of modern human science. "Begin awakening procedures for the flagship," Vivian ordered. "Designate her nemesis." In the hangar, massive gantries came to life, swarming around the largest of the vessels. The nemesis was a behemoth, nearly 2 kilometers in length, her hull a shimmering black that seemed to drink in the light. As power flowed into her systems, lines of brilliant blue energy began to trace intricate patterns across her surface. Alarms suddenly blared through the control center. "We've got a problem," shouted Lieutenant Commander Jack Harper, the military liaison assigned to the project. "Our activation sequence has been detected. Multiple bogies incoming, bearing matches Confederation scout ships." Vivian's mind raced. They weren't ready for a confrontation, not yet. But if the Confederation discovered the fleet now, all would be lost. She made a split-second decision. "Accelerate the launch sequence," she commanded. "Get the nemesis out of here, now." The next few minutes were a blur of frantic activity. The ceiling of the underground hangar began to retract, revealing a massive tunnel that led to the surface. The nemesis, her systems not yet fully online, was lifted by powerful anti-gravity generators. "Confederation ships entering Earth's atmosphere," Harper reported, his voice tense. "ETA to our position. 3 minutes." Vivian gripped the edge of her console, watching as the Nemesis slowly ascended through the tunnel. "Divert all power to the stealth systems. We can't let them detect her." As the flagship neared the surface, the first explosions rocked the facility. The Confederation scouts had arrived, their energy weapons tearing into the Earth in an attempt to uncover the secret base. "Hull breach in sectors 3 and 7. Tanaka yelled over the din of alarms and crumbling concrete. "We're losing containment." But it was too late for the Confederation. The Nemesis breached the surface, her massive form rising into the night sky, like an avenging spirit. Her stealth systems, more advanced than anything the aliens possessed, rendered her invisible to both sight and sensors. In the control center, Vivian allowed herself a small smile of triumph. "Transmit the activation codes to the rest of the fleet. It's time to show the Confederation what humanity is truly capable of." Across the globe, hidden bases similar to the one Vivian commanded sprang into action. In the depths of the Mariana Trench, beneath the ice of Antarctica, and in the heart of the Sahara Desert, humanity's secret armada awakened. Ships of all sizes, from agile fighters to massive dreadnoughts, rose to join the Nemesis in low Earth orbit. Aboard the Confederation command ship in high orbit, Zaxxlian received the news of the underground base's discovery with satisfaction. "Excellent," he purred to his subordinates. "With their pitiful attempt at retaliation crushed, the humans will have no choice but to submit to our rule." But his smugness turned to confusion as his sensors officers reported strange anomalies. "High Counselor," one of them chittered nervously, "we're detecting massive energy signatures appearing out of nowhere." They're ships, sir. Thousands of them." Zaxxlian's multifaceted eyes widened in shock as the cloaking fields around Earth's fleet dropped, revealing an armada that rivaled the Confederation's own. "Impossible," he whispered. On the bridge of the Nemesis, now fully operational, and at the head of Earth's fleet, Vivian Emerson opened a channel to the Confederation forces. Her voice, cold and filled with righteous anger, echoed across the void of space. "This is Dr. Vivian Emerson of Earth. You came to our world offering peace and partnership, only to betray us with treachery and violence. You thought us weak, defenseless. You were wrong." She paused, allowing her words to sink in. "For centuries, we have guarded the legacy of those who came before, preparing for this day. Now you will witness the true power of humanity unleashed. This is not a negotiation. This is not a plea for mercy. This is a declaration of war." With a gesture, Vivian closed the channel. She turned to her crew, men and women chosen from every nation on Earth, united in their determination to defend their home. "All ships, this is Nemesis Actual. You have your targets. For Earth, for Ambassador Chen, for every human who has suffered at the hands of the Confederation. Attack." The space around Earth erupted in a dazzling display of advanced weaponry. Beams of concentrated energy, missiles that phased in and out of normal space, and swarms of autonomous attack drones surged towards the unprepared Confederation fleet. Taken completely by surprise, the alien ships struggled to mount an effective defense. Their shields, designed to withstand known weapons, proved woefully inadequate against the onslaught of Earth's ancient technology. As the battle raged, Vivian allowed herself a moment of reflection. This was only the beginning, she knew. The road ahead would be long and fraught with danger. But for the first time since the Confederation's arrival, hope blossomed in her heart. Humanity had awoken, and the galaxy would never be the same. The counterattack. The vast expanse of space around Earth had become a graveyard of twisted metal and shattered dreams. The remnants of the Confederation's orbital fleet drifted lifelessly, a testament to the devastating power of humanity's ancient weapons. But for Admiral Elena Vasquez, standing on the bridge of the Nemesis, this was only the opening salvo in a war that would span the stars. "Status report," Vasquez barked, her eyes never leaving the tactical display. Lieutenant Commander Harper, now serving as her XO, responded crisply. "All Earth defense systems are online and fully operational, Admiral." The Confederation's primary invasion force has been repelled. Our fleet reports minimal casualties. Vasquez nodded, a grim smile playing on her lips. And the Nemesis. All systems nominal. Dr. Emerson replied from her station. The ship's AI is fully integrated and functioning beyond our wildest expectations. We're ready for deep space operations. The Admiral turned to address her bridge crew, her voice filled with determination. The Confederation thought they could subjugate us, treat us like cattle to be herded, and called it will. They were wrong. Now, we take the fight to them. A cheer went up from the crew, their faces a mix of excitement and trepidation. They all knew the risks, the astronomical odds they faced. But the fire of vengeance burned hot in their hearts, fueling their resolve. Vasquez activated the fleet-wide communication channel. All ships, this is Admiral Vasquez. We have our targets. Operation Retribution begins now. For Earth. With a burst of energy that momentarily outshone the sun, the Earth fleet engaged their faster-than-light drives. In the blink of an eye, they vanished from the solar system, leaving behind a planet that, for the first time in years, tasted true freedom. On Arcturus Prime, capital world of the Galactic Confederation, panic reigned supreme. The High Council chambers, normally a place of measured debate and political maneuvering, had devolved into chaos. Delegates from 100 worlds shouted over each other, demanding explanations and action. High Councilor Zaxxlian, his scales dulled with stress, struggled to maintain order. Please, esteemed colleagues, we must approach this crisis with unity and... His words were cut short as the chamber's massive view screens flared to life, showing scenes of devastation from across Confederation space. Key military installations, shipyards, and strategic resource depots were under attack. And at the center of each assault was a fleet of ships, unlike anything the Confederation had ever encountered. By the cosmic egg, whispered Zaxxlian, his voice barely audible over the renewed uproar. What have we awakened? The Nemesis dropped out of FTL on the edge of the Theta Cygni system, home to one of the Confederation's largest shipyards. Admiral Vasquez studied the tactical display, noting the formidable defenses arrayed against them. Multiple orbital platforms detected, reported the sensor officer. Energy readings suggest they're equipped with Class 4 particle cannons. Confederation fleet assets in multiple orbital platforms detected, reported the sensor officer. Energy readings suggest they're equipped with Class 4 particle cannons. Confederation fleet assets in system include 3 dreadnoughts, 12 cruisers, and numerous smaller craft. Admiral Vasquez's eyes narrowed as she assessed the situation. They had bolstered their defenses since our last intel update. No matter. Deploy the Phantom Squad. At her command, a group of sleek, arrow-shaped fighters detached from the Nemesis. These were the pride of Earth's fleet, stealth interceptors equipped with phase shift technology that allowed them to pass through solid matter. Phantom Squad, you have your objectives, Vasquez said over the comm. Take out those orbital platforms. Clear the way for our main assault. Roger that, Admiral, came the response from Major Zara Chen, leader of the Phantom Squad and daughter of the late Ambassador Elena Chen. We'll make them pay. The Phantom fighters accelerated towards the Confederation's defenses, their advanced stealth systems rendering them invisible to the enemy sensors. As they approached the first orbital platform, they activated their phase shift drives. To the astonishment of the Confederation defenders, the Earth fighters passed straight through their shields and hull as if they were ghosts. Once inside, they rematerialized, unleashing a barrage of antimatter charges before phasing out again. One by one, the orbital platforms erupted in spectacular explosions, leaving gaping holes in the system's defensive network. Orbital defenses neutralized, Admiral, reported Major Chen, her voice tight with controlled emotion. Phantom Squad returning to Nemesis. Vasquez allowed herself a small smile. Excellent work, Major. All ships, prepare for engagement. Launch the swarm. From the hangars of the Earth fleet emerged thousands of autonomous drones, each no larger than a human fist, but armed with weaponry that could punch through a cruiser's armor. They moved in perfect synchronization, guided by advanced AI that could adapt to enemy tactics in real time. The Confederation fleet, caught off guard by the loss of their orbital defenses, scrambled to respond. But their formation was in disarray, their commanders issuing conflicting orders as they tried to comprehend the nature of the threat they faced. "Enemy fleet is in disarray," Lieutenant Commander Harper reported. "Their communications are in chaos. Press the advantage," Vasquez ordered. "All ships engage at will. Target their command and control systems first." The space around Theta Cygni erupted in a dazzling display of advanced weaponry. Earth's ships, though outnumbered, demonstrated a level of coordination and tactical prowess that left their opponents reeling. The Nemesis led the charge, its main cannon, a weapon that harnessed the power of artificial singularities, tearing through the enemy's largest dreadnought as if it were made of paper. Dr. Emerson, monitoring the ship's systems, called out, "Admiral, we're detecting a power surge in the enemy's flagship. They're trying to activate some sort of super weapon." Vasquez's response was immediate. "Divert all power to forward shields. Phantom Squad, I need you to take out that flagship's power core." "Can you do it?" "Consider it done, Admiral," Major Chen replied, her voice filled with grim determination. The Phantom fighters once again streaked across the battlefield, weaving through the chaos of battle with inhuman precision. They phased through the flagship's hull, rematerializing in its engine room. "Charges set," Chen reported. "Detonation in 3, 2, 1. The Confederation flagship's midsection bulged outward for a split second before it was consumed in a brilliant explosion. The shockwave rippled through space, disabling several nearby Confederation ships. With their flagship destroyed and their defenses in ruins, the remaining Confederation forces began to retreat. Escape pods launched from crippled ships as their crews abandoned their posts. "Enemy forces are in full retreat, Admiral," Harper announced, unable to keep the excitement from his voice. "The shipyards are defenseless." Vasquez nodded, her expression solemn. "Commence bombardment of all military targets, but leave the civilian areas untouched. We're here for justice, not vengeance." As the Earth fleet methodically destroyed the shipyards and military installations, Vasquez opened a channel to the planet below. "People of Theta Cygni," she began, her voice firm, but not unkind. "Your leaders have committed grave crimes against Earth and humanity, but we do not hold you, the civilians, responsible for their actions. We have spared your cities and your lives. Remember this day. Remember that humanity chose mercy when we could have chosen destruction. The era of the Confederation's unchallenged rule is over." As her words echoed across the system, carried by every communication channel, a new sentiment began to spread among the populated worlds of the Confederation. Fear, yes, but also something else. Hope. Hope that perhaps, in humanity, the oppressed species of the galaxy might find an ally against their cruel overlords. The Battle of Theta Cygni was over, but the war had only just begun. As the Earth fleet prepared to jump to their next target, Admiral Vasquez knew that their actions here would send shockwaves throughout the galaxy. The Confederation would no longer underestimate humanity, but neither would they be able to stop what was coming. For in awakening Earth's ancient fleet, they had set in motion events that would reshape the very fabric of galactic society. The age of humanity had dawned, and the stars themselves trembled at its approach. The rebellion. News of Earth's victory at Theta Cygni spread through the galaxy like wildfire, carried by smugglers, merchants, and encrypted resistance communications. On 1,000 worlds, beings of all species gathered in secret, whispering of the humans who had dared to challenge the Confederation and won. On the desert world of Zarthak, home to the reptilian saurians, Kuzoth slithered through the winding tunnels of the Resistance's hidden base. His scales, once vibrant, were now dull with the dust of years spent hiding from Confederation patrols. But today, there was a new fire in his compound eyes. "Is it true?" he asked, bursting into the command center where his fellow resistance leaders had gathered. Have the humans really destroyed the Theta Cygni shipyards? Molrak, the grizzled veteran who led their cell, nodded solemnly. It's true. Our sources in the Confederation military confirm it. The humans didn't just defeat them, they obliterated them. A ripple of excitement passed through the assembled rebels. For decades, they had waged a guerrilla war against the Confederation, scoring minor victories but never truly threatening the regime's hold on power. Now, for the first time, they dared to hope for more. This changes everything, Kizoth said, his voice trembling with emotion. If the humans could do this, then perhaps we can too, Molrak finished. He turned to the holographic display at the center of the room, showing a map of nearby Confederation military installations. It's time we stopped hiding and started fighting. Spread the word to all our cells. The uprising begins now. As the Saurian rebels mobilized, similar scenes played out across the galaxy. On the gas giant Neptulox, the ethereal wisps, long enslaved for their ability to process rare gases, sabotaged the atmospheric processing plants that were the backbone of the Confederation's economy. In the silicon forests of Crystallia, the crystalline Prismians shattered their bonds, their razor-sharp bodies becoming living weapons against their oppressors. Aboard the Nemesis, Admiral Vasquez received report after report of uprisings and rebellions sweeping through Confederation space. She turned to Dr. Emerson, her expression a mix of surprise and satisfaction. It seems we've sparked quite the firestorm, Vasquez remarked. Emerson nodded, her eyes scanning the incoming data. The oppressed species of the galaxy see us as liberators. They're rising up against the Confederation en masse. Good, Vasquez said firmly. We'll need allies if we're to dismantle the Confederation for good. Open a channel to Earth. It's time we coordinated our efforts with these resistance movements. Back on Earth, the United Earth government had been working tirelessly to consolidate their position and prepare for the long war ahead. When Admiral Vasquez's transmission came through, President Kira Donovan was ready. Admiral, Donovan greeted, her holographic image flickering to life on the Nemesis bridge. Your successes have exceeded our wildest expectations, but now we face a new challenge and a new opportunity. Vasquez nodded. The galaxy is in upheaval, Madam President. Every world that has suffered under Confederation rule is now looking to us for leadership. Exactly, Donovan replied, which is why I'm authorizing Operation Avalanche. We're going to arm and train these resistance movements, turn them into a cohesive fighting force. The plan was ambitious, perhaps even reckless, but as humanity had learned, sometimes audacity was the best strategy. Over the next few weeks, Earth's fleet split into smaller task forces, each assigned to a different sector of Confederation space. Their mission: to make contact with resistance groups, provide them with advanced weaponry, and coordinate their efforts into a galaxy-wide insurrection. On Zarthak, Kizoth could hardly believe his eyes as the massive human warship descended from the sky, landing in the vast desert outside their hidden base. A delegation of humans emerged, led by a tall, dark-skinned woman with close-cropped hair and eyes that burned with intensity. I am Captain Amara Okafor of the Earth ship Thunderchild, she announced as Kizoth and Molrak approached. We're here to help you take back your world. Over the next few days, the humans worked tirelessly alongside the Saurian rebels. They provided advanced weapons that could penetrate Confederation armor, taught tactics that had proven effective in Earth's own rebellion, and helped coordinate attacks on key Confederation holdings across the planet. Similar scenes played out on countless worlds. The wisps of Neptulox were given specially designed exosuits that allowed them to weaponize their control over gases. The Prismians of Crystallia learned to focus their natural refraction abilities into devastating energy beams. But it wasn't just military aid that Earth provided. They'd brought hope, a commodity long in short supply in Confederation space. The stories of Earth's defiance, of their sudden rise from obscurity to galactic power, inspired millions to take up arms against their oppressors. As the rebellion spread, the Confederation found itself fighting a war on two fronts. They faced not only the technologically superior Earth fleet, but also increasingly well-armed and coordinated insurgencies on nearly every world they controlled. High Counselor Zaxxalian, once the most powerful being in the galaxy, now found himself besieged in his own palace on Arcturus Prime. As reports of yet another world falling to the rebels reached him, he turned to his most trusted advisor, a member of the enigmatic precursor race that had once ruled the galaxy. How could this have happened? Zaxxalian demanded, his scales flashing colors of distress and anger. How could these humans have upset millennia of Confederation rule in a matter of months? The precursor, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate mechanical shell, pulsed softly before responding. You underestimated them, Zaxxalian. As we all did, the humans are not just another species to be conquered. They are the inheritors of our legacy. Zaxxalian's eyes widened in shock. What do you mean? The technology they wield, the ships they command, they are of precursor origin, the advisor explained. Eons ago, when our race faced extinction, we seeded various worlds with our knowledge, hoping that one day a species worthy of our legacy would arise. It seems the humans have proven themselves to be that species. The implications of this revelation were staggering. If the humans were indeed wielding the full might of precursor technology, then the Confederation's defeat was all but assured. Zaxxalian slumped in his throne, the weight of his failures pressing down upon him. Then, what hope do we have? The precursor advisor's form pulsed again, this time with what might have been interpreted as sadness. Hope, Zaxxalian. The time for hope is past. Now we must prepare for the end of an era. The age of the Confederation is over. The age of humanity has begun. As if to punctuate the precursor's words, the palace shook with the impact of distant explosions. The rebellion had reached Arcturus Prime itself. The last bastion of Confederation power was about to fall. Across the galaxy, on 1,000 worlds and 1,000,000 battlefields, the tide of war turned inexorably in humanity's favor. The ancient fleet, awakened from its long slumber, proved unstoppable. And in its wake, a new galactic order began to take shape, one built not on oppression and fear, but on cooperation and hope. The stars themselves seemed to burn brighter, heralding the dawn of a new age. An age where humanity, long thought to be an insignificant species from an unremarkable world, would take its place as leaders and protectors of a free galaxy. The Confederation had sought to subjugate Earth. Instead, they had unleashed a force that would reshape the very fabric of galactic civilization. The revolution, sparked by human defiance and fueled by the hope they inspired, could no longer be stopped. As Admiral Vasquez stood on the bridge of the Nemesis, watching the combined human and rebel fleet approach Arcturus Prime, she allowed herself a small smile. They had come so far, sacrificed so much. But now, at last, victory was within their grasp. All ships, this is Admiral Vasquez, she broadcast to the vast armada assembled before her. Today, we end the tyranny of the Confederation once and for all. For Earth, for freedom, for the future of all species in this galaxy. Attack. And with that command, the final battle for the fate of the galaxy began. The Reckoning. The skies above Arcturus Prime blazed with the fury of 1,000 suns as the combined fleet of Earth and its allies engaged the last remnants of the Confederation's once mighty armada. The Nemesis, flagship of humanity's resurgence, led the charge, its ancient weapons tearing through enemy ships with terrifying ease. On the bridge, Admiral Elena Vasquez stood resolute, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Status report," she barked. Lieutenant Commander Harper responded promptly. "Enemy fleet is in disarray, Admiral. Their formations are breaking. Ground forces report that rebel units have breached the outer defenses of the High Council's fortress." Vasquez nodded, her expression grim. "And the Phantom Squad?" As if in answer, Major Zara Chen's voice crackled over the comm. Phantom Squad reporting in, Admiral. We've successfully infiltrated the fortress. Proceeding to the main chamber now. Excellent work, Major, Vasquez replied. Remember, we want the High Council alive if possible. They must answer for their crimes. As the space battle raged on, the real endgame was playing out within the opulent halls of the High Council's fortress. Major Chen and her Phantom Squad moved like ghosts through the once impregnable stronghold, their phase shift technology allowing them to bypass walls and energy barriers alike. They encountered pockets of resistance, elite Confederation guards armed with weapons that could harm even phase-shifted matter. But the Phantom Squad had not come this far to be denied. With ruthless efficiency, they neutralized every threat, leaving a trail of disabled foes in their wake. Finally, they reached the massive doors of the High Council chamber. Chen turned to her squad, her eyes burning with the memory of her mother's assassination. "This is it," she said, her voice low and intense. "Whatever happens, remember, we're here for justice, not vengeance. Stick to the plan." With a nod to her tech specialist, Chen watched as the ancient locking mechanisms of the door were overridden. The massive portal slid open, revealing the heart of Confederation power. The High Council chamber was a marvel of alien architecture, its soaring ceilings and crystalline walls designed to inspire awe in those fortunate few granted an audience. But today, it was a scene of chaos and desperation. High Councilor Zaxilian and the remaining council members huddled behind a shimmering energy barrier, their once proud demeanors replaced by fear and confusion. Surrounding them were the last of their loyal guards, weapons trained on the human intruders. Chen stepped forward, her phase shift armor gleaming in the chamber's ethereal light. "High Councilor Zaxilian," she announced, her voice carrying easily across the vast room. "In the name of Earth and all the species you have oppressed, you are hereby placed under arrest. Surrender now, and you." Chen stepped forward, her phase shift armor gleaming in the chamber's ethereal light. "High Councilor Zaxilian," she announced, her voice carrying easily across the vast room. "In the name of Earth and all the species you have oppressed, you are hereby placed under arrest. Surrender now, and you will be granted a fair trial." Zaxilian's multifaceted eyes darted frantically between Chen and his remaining guards. For a moment, it seemed as though he might order a final suicidal stand. But then his shoulders slumped in defeat. "Lower the barrier," he commanded, his once melodious voice now raspy with fear. "It's over." As the energy field flickered and died, Chen and her squad moved swiftly to secure the council members. But even as they did so, a new presence made itself known. From the shadows at the edge of the chamber emerged a figure unlike any the humans had encountered before. It was vaguely humanoid in shape, but its body seemed to be composed of swirling energy, contained within an intricate exoskeleton. "Hold!" the being commanded, its voice resonating with power. "I am Sathor, last of the precursors. This conflict must end now, before irreparable damage is done." Chen raised her weapon, unsure of this new threat. "Stand down," she ordered. "We have no quarrel with you." Sathor raised a hand in a placating gesture. "Nor I with you, children of Earth. In fact, I have been waiting for this moment for eons." With a gesture, Sathor summoned a holographic display that filled the chamber. It showed scenes from Earth's distant past, primitive humans discovering artifacts of impossible technology, secretly preserving them through the ages. "Long ago," Sathor explained, "my people faced extinction. We seeded many worlds with our knowledge, hoping that one day a species would arise worthy of our legacy. You humans have proven yourselves to be that species." The revelation sent shockwaves through the chamber. Chen lowered her weapon, her mind reeling. "The fleet, our technology." "Yes," Sathor confirmed. "It is all precursor in origin. You have wielded it with a wisdom and restraint that has impressed even me." Zaxilian, still held by Chen's squad, sputtered in disbelief. But we are the rightful rulers of the galaxy. We built the Confederation." Sathor turned to the fallen High Councilor, his energy form pulsing with what might have been sadness. "You built an empire of oppression and fear, Zaxxlian. The humans and their allies have shown us a better way." At that moment, Admiral Vasquez's voice came through on Chen's comm. "Major, we've achieved total victory in orbit. The Confederation fleet has surrendered. What's your status?" Chen looked from Xathor to her prisoners, then back to her squad. "Admiral," she replied, "you're going to want to see this for yourself. I think the war just ended." In the days that followed, a new galactic order began to take shape. With Xathor's guidance, humanity took on the mantle of leadership, not as conquerors, but as peacekeepers and mediators. The former Confederation worlds were granted independence, with Earth and its allies helping to establish new democratic governments. The advanced technology of the precursors was shared freely, ushering in an era of unprecedented prosperity and scientific advancement. 1 month after the fall of Arcturus Prime, representatives from every known sentient species gathered on Earth for the signing of the Galactic Concordat. In a ceremony broadcast across the stars, President Kira Donovan addressed the assembled delegates. "Today, we turn the page on a dark chapter in our shared history," she declared. "The Confederation's reign of tyranny is over. In its place, we establish the Galactic Alliance, a union of free worlds, dedicated to peace, progress, and the dignity of all sentient beings." As Donovan signed the document, cheers erupted from the crowd. Humans stood side by side with Saurians, Wists, Prismians, and 100 other species, united in hope for the future. Admiral Vasquez, watching from the sidelines, felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned to find Dr. Emerson, a sad smile on her face. "Penny for your thoughts, Admiral?" Emerson asked. Vasquez sighed, her eyes distant. "I was just thinking about how it all began, with an assassination that was meant to cow us into submission. Instead, it awakened a sleeping giant," Emerson finished. "I think Ambassador Chen would be proud of what we've accomplished." Vasquez nodded, straightening her uniform. She would. And now, the real work begins. As the celebration continued around them, Vasquez and Emerson turned their gaze to the stars visible through the chamber's transparent dome. Those same stars that had once seemed so distant and hostile now represented infinite possibilities. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. They had inherited the legacy of an ancient race and used it not for domination, but for liberation. The age of the Confederation was over. The age of the Galactic Alliance, of cooperation, exploration, and shared prosperity, had just begun. And as the first ships of the new Alliance fleet prepared to venture into the unknown reaches of the galaxy, they carried with them the hopes and dreams of countless worlds. For in awakening Earth's ancient fleet, the Confederation had not just unleashed humanity's vengeance, they had unleashed its potential to forge a brighter future for all. The end, and a new beginning.